tell us a little bit about where you come from, Charlie, because there's obviously that UK twang there. So tell us a little bit about your backstory. What's gone on there?
So technically, I'm Greek Cypriot, but I grew up in North London. My dad fled Cyprus during the war, so typical thing. They all went to North London or Melbourne in Australia. So I ended up in London, and so really that was where I grew up. That's where I learned everything, really. I'd say growing up, I was in very much a working class family. I would say. I mean, the reality was my mum and dad worked 7 days a week. And anyone who, I don't know, some people may know Ridley Road Market. I pretty much grew up on Ridley Road Market.
What did they do, Charlie? What did your mum and dad do?
They sold African Caribbean foods.
Okay.
Yeah, in the market. Do you know what? I always have fond memories of my childhood because, yes, I was at work pretty much every day from a toddler to when I went to school and then outside of school. But I genuinely did have to work. Well, I mean, I charged my dad, mind you. But
how much did you charge? Come on, spill the beans. Go on.
Well, I can't remember now, but I think I undervalued my services. That's for sure.
Like £2 a day, something like that.
Probably less than that. I think it was a Kit Kat. No, it wasn't. It was a Time Out bar and a can of Coke.
There you go. See, the memory comes flooding back now.
It was actually. Yeah, you remind me there. Yeah, a Time Out bar and a can of Coke.
Not like a roller cola or a Panda Cola, but an actual Coca-Cola.
No, it was, and they had these KA drinks. They're called KA. I love them as well. So
I've still got one of them. The black grape KA drink is my favourite.
Well, we used to sell them, so that was my fee.
The African food coming in there, brilliant.
Yeah, so I did. I used to love it. I really grew up, and I mean, look, I saw my mum and dad work a lot and worked hard. But that is really where I grew up was in that market because you know it's like a big family. I know we watch EastEnders, which isn't really a market, but you know, it really is like a big family. Everyone in the market, but it's changed these days, mind you. But back in the day, you know, everyone would know each other and you'd all talk to each other and you could roam the market. And as a kid, I could walk up and down. And, I used to price things and all sorts. So that was really where I grew up. But North London / Ridley Road Market.
And obviously, growing up in North London, would you say that you come from a sort of a privileged background where you know, have you got 5 cars in the drive? Are you in a 5-bedroom detached house? What's going on there?
I wouldn't. The honest answer is my dad wasn't really a showy person, and he still isn't. So It's quite tough to know really the real wealth of my father. So we didn't really grow up in a flashy way. Like I said, they worked 7 days a week. What I would say is I definitely felt privileged in terms of we would have a holiday every year. So every year we would go on holiday. And that was actually part of my driving force as a kid because I remember all my friends never went on holiday. Some of them never went on holiday until they were an adult. So I do remember thinking, you know, we didn't go on lots of holidays, but we did used to go on at least one good holiday a year. And I remember feeling like...
What was that sort of holiday? Just tell, like, where would you go?
Typically, it was actually back to Cyprus. so to be fair,
back home.
Looking back at it, my dad was probably skimping on the money because we had family and stuff there. But you know, I did used to realise, you know, my mum and dad work really bloody hard. And I used to go on holiday once a year. And like I said, my environment, kids didn't really go on holiday. So I do remember. So you could say it was privileged somewhat, but I mean, it depends what you're comparing it to. If you're comparing it to a multi-millionaire with cars and I get everything I want, then the answer is no.
Fair enough. And this is obviously pre-EasyJet, pre-Ryanair, where you can now pick a flight to Cyprus for, I think, about 70 quid. Back in the sort of 80s, 90s, if you wanted to fly to Cyprus, you're talking a fair chunk of change back then because, you know, the budget airlines just didn't exist. So it would have been a relatively expensive thing to enjoy going out on holiday once a year. But the point really I'm trying to drive home here is that you can't go and get a small $1 million loan from your father like some certain president and so on. You know, it's not that sort of environment where you go, oh, Dad, can you bung me a cheeky 50 grand and see where we go from here?
Do you know what? He was with me. I've got older brothers as well that he may have been different with. He was different with. With me, it was very much like if I wanted to go out and play on the weekend, I'd have to help him. He ended up from the African Caribbean's food market. He ended up making quite good money as the years went on. So he started investing in properties, and but I'd have to go and build a wall with him if I wanted to go out, as a 7-year-old, you don't really appreciate that because I'm a kid. I want to go and play. But it did give me some good lessons in life. So that was how it was. Even he was a football manager. I played in an academy league for football, and he was the manager of the team. I used to get dropped on the day of a game if I didn't tidy my room. It was ridiculous. He was a very old school Greek man who was very respect driven, probably sometimes too strict.
Bit disciplinarian, would you say? Sounds like it there. Okay.
Yeah, so you didn't really get anything really unless you worked for it. But that taught me good lessons, I would say.